What's going on, everybody? Good late afternoon, pushing into the evening now on this Victory Monday. And obviously, look, if you're a Seahawks fan, you're probably feeling pretty good right now. You're feeling positive about the direction of this team. You're thinking that this could be a really, really good era of Seahawks football. You're feeling optimistic about most things with this team right now, I think. And I guess that it's kind of my job to bring everybody down just a little bit, or at the very least, that's probably what I'm going to do with this video. And I'm sorry to have to do that, but in light of something that happened earlier today, and in light of something that happened about a month ago, and in light of things that are likely to happen this upcoming off season, I think that it's appropriate that we're at least aware of this going forward. So we're going to talk a little bit about coaching stuff in just a minute, but first, the break. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you about Sleeper, a one-stop shop for all your sports needs. You can celebrate and chat on sports games in real time with other users. You can get the fastest scores, blazing fast sports news and sports alerts right at your fingertips. And of course, you can use Sleeper to play in fantasy leagues and win real money on picks contests. This is the way sports were meant to be enjoyed together. So download Sleeper today. Use promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. And you can pair that with another promo they have right now where you can get a $20 entry free with no deposit required. So get both of those things going. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and growing. So check out Sleeper today, get to it, and go have some fun with sports this year. All right, welcome back. So earlier today, Brian Daboll was fired as the New York Giants head coach on the tail end of him blowing a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter against the Chicago Bears. Stacked on top of him blowing the game against the Broncos a few weeks ago. Stacked on top of him blowing the game against the Cowboys back in week 2. Stacked on top of just being a really bad team for the last couple years. And I think we all kind of felt this one coming. But now you're probably wondering, well, what does this have to do with the Seahawks? And I'll tell you what this has to do with the Seahawks. We are not even done with week 10 of the NFL season, and we already have 2 head coach firings, right? Titans fired Callahan earlier this season, and now the Giants have fired Daboll. So that is 2 guys that are gone already about halfway through the season. So we all understand, I think, that teams generally shy away from firing coaches, especially head coaches mid-season. Very rare that you see something like that happen. So it speaks to how badly those teams knew that the guy they had was not going to be the guy. Titans with Callahan and now the Giants with Daboll. But the kind of the element kind of unspoken here is that things are probably going to get a lot worse when we get to Black Monday, the day after the regular season ends. And while I know that there isn't necessarily going to be a strong correlation, I do think that this portends a pretty ugly few days right after the season ends in January. So let's take a look at the rest of the league and keep in mind here, ask yourself this. How many guys out there right now are more appealing as a head coach than Klint Kubiak? And this is the why we're having this conversation. Klint Kubiak, who currently leads the number 3 offense in the league, a team that is scoring a ton of points pretty much every week with guys that most people did not consider to be elite talents before the season started. I still think that no matter how good he's playing, there is a perception that Sam Darnold is a heavily flawed quarterback that he is getting the most out of. I still don't know if most people consider JSN to be one of the best receivers in the league. But if your perception of this Seahawks team is they have limited offensive talent and Kubiak is making it all hum with his play calling and his play designs, and you look at the offensive line that has been so bad over the last couple years that is playing at a great level this year. Now, obviously, the players are not exactly the same, but you put it all together and you're like, wow, these other teams, these teams that might not be paying attention to every single step along the way, are going to think that Kubiak is the greatest thing to happen to football in a long time. He's young. He comes from good football stock. He was under Shanahan for a little bit. This is a guy who has a lot of good things under his belt before this season. Like the results weren't really there until this season for Kubiak, but he also comes from good stock. I mean, his dad is obviously a great NFL coach, Gary Kubiak, Super Bowl winning coach. There's going to be a lot of interest here, and ask yourself, other than guys like Adam Stenovich and Mike McCarthy and maybe, I guess, Bill Belichick, who is going to edge out Klint Kubiak as the hot coaching candidate du jour this upcoming offseason? And look at some of these other teams that we're looking at. Let's just go through the list right here, right? Okay, AFC East, McDaniel, that could go either way. If the Dolphins don't close out the season strong, Mike McDaniel's probably gone. I think Aaron Glenn is safe, but the Jets are really bad, so I wouldn't completely rule anything out. And if the Bills continue to fraud it up the way they've been frauding it up so far this year, and if the Bills have an early postseason exit, which right now I think is going to happen, I think McDermott could be gone too. He's had a lot of time there to get the team over the top, and if they fizzle out quickly, that might be it for McDermott. The AFC North, everybody I think is at least intriguing. Stefanski's probably gone. I don't think he deserves it, but I think Stefanski will probably get fired. Zach Taylor, certainly on the list. Maybe they'll give him a break because of the Joe Burrow thing, but he could be gone. The Ravens look like they've kind of saved their season right now, so I don't want to completely count them out. But if the Ravens don't make the playoffs this year, if they end up not being able to take advantage of Lamar coming back, I think the Baltimore might look at that Ravens defense, might look at some recent seasons where the team has kind of fallen apart in the postseason, and they might say, "Well, you're the next guy we got to get rid of." Sorry, and Harbaugh could be gone. And I don't think the Steelers are going to get rid of Tomlin. I don't think that's something they ever really think about doing seriously, but it is possible that this is finally the year where they just get sick of being stuck in the middle. It's possible. So all four guys in the AFC North could be gone for all we know. Something to think about. Let me tell you guys about something pretty cool back in 30. Hey everybody, Seahawks Brendan Nelson here to show you some really cool steel art for the 50th anniversary of the Seahawks and a Mariners medallion too, like the ones pictured above my head. My dad, aka Metal Hawk, has met over 300 Seahawks, dozens of Mariners, and some Sonics in his time, and now he's making unique steel art, special edition, and it can be yours for a donation directly to Fans for Good. Click the Facebook link down below for complete instructions. Back to the video. AFC South, we already know the Titans are going to want a new head coach. There's no way Mike McCoy is going to stick. And even if there was a chance that he was going to stick, it would require them to win some games, and they're not winning games. So Tennessee's going to need a new head coach. AFC West, Carroll could be one and done. The Raiders are that bad. Raiders have been that incompetent so far this year to where I wouldn't be shocked if Carroll's a one and done. And Andy Reid teases retirement like every offseason, right? So if the Chiefs decide, or well, it would be Andy Reid decides this is it, I can't go any further than I've gone, maybe them. Move to the NFC. We know the Giants from this morning because they promoted Kafka, but there's no way Kafka is going to just stick unless the team has a massive turnaround that is very unlikely. I think Dan Quinn is safe, but I'm not 100% sure. They have certainly disappointed this year. I think we all understand that Schottenheimer's safe. Dallas doesn't like to fire coaches pretty much ever. So I'm not thinking about that one, even though Cowboys have been disappointing this year. Probably everybody in the NFC North is fine right now. I don't think any of those guys are in trouble. And I imagine that Kellen Moore is safe for at least another year. Raheem Morris is kind of an interesting sleeper to get canned because he hasn't really been good. And remember, Atlanta is kind of all in for this year. They traded their first round pick next year, and they look like they're going to miss the playoffs. So it's not completely out of the question that a guy like Raheem Morris gets canned after 2 years where the Falcons don't make the playoffs. And within the division, you've got Arizona. And I don't think Gannon's a bad coach, but I do think that it is on the table that Arizona decides, hey, this is year 3. We should have seen more by now. Now, I think that in a fair and just world, you give him a chance to get his quarterback first. You let him move off of Kyler and get his guy. But if Arizona continues to do what they're doing so far this year, which is lose all these close games, then I don't think anything's out of the question. So what did we just list out here? Potential as many as like 10 openings, and not all of them are going to open, right? There's going to be some stuff here that doesn't happen. Andy Reid might stick in Kansas City for one more year, hold off retirement. Maybe the Bengals keep Zach Taylor because Burrow got hurt and they're going to give him a pass. Logically speaking, at least one of the other AFC North teams, either Steelers or Ravens, will keep their coach. But some of these spots are definitely going to open up. And there is a shortage of hot college coaches that can fill those vacancies. Like Joe Brady in Buffalo's probably going to take one of these spots, right? I think McCarthy's going to get picked up. Like I said, Stenovich is very interesting. There isn't a ton that is going to happen in terms of these lower level coordinators getting pushed into head coaching jobs. If you are looking at coordinators that are earning a shot at a head coaching gig, I think that Klint Kubiak is right near the top of that list. He's got the number 3 offense in the league and a legitimate contender with not Josh Allen, not Pat Mahomes, not Lamar Jackson, with Sam Darnold. And I think that's going to go a long way. That might go ahead of a guy like Stenovich. That might go ahead of a guy like Brady. So what I'm trying to say is, you do the math. You put out all the equations here. There is an overwhelmingly good chance that Kubiak is going to have not just one, but multiple head coaching opportunities this offseason. And while we have seen some instances of of coaches turning down the opportunity to be a head coach to stick as a coordinator for another year or even couple years, more often than not, these guys see the opportunity to become a head coach. They take it. Now, would Kubiak jump on the Baltimore job? Probably not. He doesn't want to coach Lamar Jackson. That doesn't fit his offense at all. And maybe he wouldn't want to go to a place like Miami because that's such a dead-end organization right now. Maybe he wouldn't want to go to Cleveland because that's seems like a complete dead end until they get off of the Deshaun Watson money and they don't have a quarterback in place. Maybe there are some of these places he would just be like, no, I'd rather stay as a coordinator in a good place than be a head coach in a place where I'm going to get blamed for stuff that isn't my fault. But some of those openings that I suggested are pretty appealing, right? Like, if the Chiefs' jobs opens up, let's say the Chiefs need a new coach after Andy Reid and they don't have a guy on staff to step up and fill in for Andy Reid because they don't want it to be Spags, I don't think. That's very appealing. If you like Cam Ward, the Titans are appealing. Now, there are other things about the Titans that aren't, but there are definitely things about the Titans job that is appealing. They're probably going to have the number 1 pick again this year. There are elements to the Bengals job that are appealing. Maybe they don't outweigh the things that are unappealing, but get to coach Joe Burrow, get to inherit Joe Burrow, fix the offensive line and you're cooking. Yeah, you might do that. You get the Steelers job somehow. They don't almost ever fire head coaches. So there's stuff going on here that tells you that Kubiak's going to have choices this offseason. And if he has choices, history tells you he is probably going to be gone. So this is the moment, guys. I know people are thinking about, next year, the year after that. And we're going to have the opportunity to get good offensive coordinators in here if Kubiak leaves. But just understand that the odds of them being as good as Kubiak is right now, because Kubiak's doing such a great job, pretty darn low. So this year, you got to go. You got to go for it, and you got to hope that everything comes together at the right time. And you got to realize that, yeah, this team is young. This team has a lot of young talent. There's a lot of good things going on with this team for the long term. You also got to realize that there's no guarantee that comes to fruition if you have to change the coordinator. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Let me know what you think down below.